Hello and welcome to our ninth session, and in this ninth session we are going to build the main block, that is the 3D block. And here actually I am using the model of a computer, that is a PC. You can customize it with your own model. In your folder, in public folder, I had given one folder called desktop_PC, and in that you have the scene.gltf file, and we are going to make use of this file and we are going to use it in our profile. And to start with, I am going to run npm run dev to run the application. Then I will open it in the browser. Now in the hero.jsx file, we had added this computer canvas, and now we are going to work with it. I will press Ctrl and click on this, and this opens the computer.jsx file. And this computers.jsx file, where it is present is in your src folder components. Inside the canvas folder, we have this computers.jsx. And here we are going to start as usual by importing a few of React components. I will delete this import file, that is line, and I am going to type import, and in open close flower bracket, the first thing I am going to import is Suspense, comma, then I am going to import useEffect, comma, and I am also going to import useState, and all this is coming from React. I will come to the end and I am going to close it with a colon, and I will save this. Now next comes our 3D component, which is the canvas, using which we are going to render the 3D image. And for this, in the next line I am going to call import, and in the flower bracket now I am going to import now canvas. I will select this canvas, and this canvas is going to come from React 3 fiber. This line is automatically added, and as soon as I save, you can see here you are seeing an error, could not resolve 3. I am getting this error because when we did the installation, we installed only React 3 fiber, but we forgot to install the actual 3 components. So for this, I will come over here in the terminal, press Ctrl+C, then I will press clear, and then now I am going to install npm install, and I am going to use the legacy peer deps, and then I am going to install 3. And if I press enter, wait till this 3 package is installed. So you can see the installation is over, and now I will run npm, I will just run npm run dev, and now if you see this, now we are not getting any error. And now after this, in the third import, to write on this canvas in 3D, we are going to import some utilities. I will write import, and in the flower brackets, the first component I import is OrbitControls, and then I will press a comma, and the next component I am going to install is preload. I will take preload, and this is also coming from React 3 DREI, and the third component I need is the most important one, useGLTF, using which we are going to load the model. And the last import we are going to do here is, we are going to import C is capital, canvas, then L is loader, and this canvas loader, this component we have not yet created it. This will be imported from, in inverted comma, give the path. I have to go to the root folder, and in that I have to choose this loader. So we are going to load it from the loader, and I will end it with semicolon. Now let us start by loading our model into the scene. I am going to add a line. I am going to declare a constant, and I am going to call this as computer, singular letter, and this computer is equal to, I am going to use the component useGLTF, and in the bracket now I am going to put it in inverted comma dot / you have a folder called desktop_PC, and inside that you have scene.gltf, and finally I will end this line with a colon and I will save it. So now here if you come to the public folder here, you have desktop PC and inside this you have scene.gltf, and this is what the reference that we have given it here. Now when we are rendering 3D, we are not going to start with a div. I am going to delete this div which is inside the return, and now I am now going to replace it with mesh, and I will close this. And inside this mesh now we are going to first start by creating a light, because without light we cannot see any model. So for this I will add this lesser than sign, and now I am going to call for this hemisphere light, and this hemisphere light I will add / and greater than sign. This is a closing tag, and inside this I am going to give it the very first parameter I give is the intensity, and this intensity I am going to set this intensity to around 0.15. I am going to set ground color, and this ground color instead of this bracket, now in inverted comma I am going to set it to black. Now you might ask, how am I able to identify what is all these commands from where I can get? If you have a doubt, you come to Google and type React 3 fiber, then docs, and you will have this React 3 fiber documentation. And if you come inside and here in the search bar here, you can just type light and you can see adding lights, and when I click on adding lights, you can see how you are going to add the light, properties, shortcut, result, everything this is showing here. Now I will come back here, and after this hemisphere light I am going to add one more point light to create a reflection in my computer monitor. So for this, in the next line, a point light, you can see this is the point light. I will end it with / and greater than sign, and inside this I am going to add the property intensity, and this intensity I will select it and I want this to be set to 1, and I will save this. And now we are going to load actually the model, and this model we are going to load it by adding this primitive. We are going to add this primitive property, and again this is a self closing tag, and inside this I am going to add the component object, and the object will be equal to my computer, which I have declared as a constant at the top. See here, constant computer dot, and I am going to add the scene. I am going to come out of this entire constant. This is one declaration we have done. Below this, I am now going to declare a new component which is computer canvas. I am going to call this as computers canvas, plural, and this will be equal to a function. I will add this open close curve brackets and then equals to greater than sign, and inside this flower brackets. Now before I continue here typing this computer canvas, one thing I want to do is I will come to this browser which we are seeing on the right hand. I will right click and choose inspect, and in inspect I will come into the console and I will keep tracking for any errors that it is showing. Right now I am seeing a lot of errors here, and this, why is this happening is, see here in export default we are exporting computers and not computers canvas. So that's why we are getting this error. So what I will do this correction first. In export default I will change it to computer canvas, then if I will save it and if I reload this, now you are not seeing any error in the console. So keep on tracking this as you are building the application. So I will come back here. I am going to now call the return, and in return I am going to add open and close parenthesis, this bracket, curve bracket, and inside this the component that I am now going to call is, I am going to call the canvas. So, I will click on lesser than sign, then I will call this canvas and I will add greater than sign and I will close it. Now, in this canvas we are going to add some parameters. The very first parameter we are going to add is, I will just come to the next line and I am going to add this frame loop and I am going to set it to demand. Now, next we are going to add the most important component, that is the camera. So, for this again before the closing tag I am going to add the next component is the camera, and for this camera inside this flower bracket I will add one more flower bracket and I am going to call the position, and for this position I will add a colon and then open close square bracket and I will add the x, y and z value. 20 will be the x value, 3 will be the y value and 5 will be the z value, and after this I will come out of this, add a comma and I am going to set its field of view, and again I will add a colon and I am going to set it to 25 and I am going to save. Next to this line I am going to call one more component for rendering, and that component is before the closing tag. I am now going to call this GL, and this GL I am going to, in the open close bracket I will add one more flower bracket and in that I will call this preserve drawing buffer and I will add a colon and I will set its value to true, and after setting its value to true I will save this. Now, next after this, after adding this inside the canvas we are now going to call a React component which is called as Suspense, and this React component Suspense again I will close this, I will add this greater than sign and close this, and inside this Suspense, for this Suspense I am going to call, I am going to add a parameter inside the top tag, that is fallback, and I am going to set this fallback equal to, and in open close bracket I am going to call a component, I will add lesser than sign and I am going to call this canvas loader, and then I will add a space, then I will add / and the closing tag, and after adding this Suspense I will save this. This is how this works. You are going to see it when we call this canvas loader, that is model is loading, we want some information for the user to be provided, that is why we have added it. We are going to go through it later, and inside this Suspense I am going to call another component called as the orbit control, and this orbit control again it will be a closed tag / and greater than sign I will add it, and in this orbit control I am going to add some parameters to. Now, for this orbit control I am going to add certain parameters. So, I will come to the next line. The first parameter I am going to add is enable zoom, and I am going to set this enable zoom value equals to, in open close flower bracket I will set this to false, and after this in the next line here I am going to enter and I am going to call another component max polar angle, and I am going to set this value to set it to math.pi, and this pi divided by 2, and similarly I will come out of this by pressing right arrow, and in the next line I am going to call this minimum, MIN I will type, minimum polar angle, and this also I will set it to math.pi and divided by 2, and after with this we have added all the parameters for this orbit control, and now I am going to save again. Now, inside this Suspense, now after this orbit control, below this I am now going to add our component that we created above, this computers, and I am going to add / and greater than sign, and I am going to close this, and before I save, below this Suspense I want to add one more component here, which is I will add lesser than size, and I will call this preload and I am going to set this preload to all, and I am going to add a forward slash and then close this tag. And with this, if I save this, now you are getting some error here. So, if you are seeing this error, what you do is come over here and in the component open the hero.jsx file, select this computer canvas that we have added it above the section, press Ctrl X and cut it, save this, and you are now seeing the file. Then here again Ctrl V and paste it and save it, and now you can see. So, there is some loading error. So, if you cut and paste it in the hero.jsx, it is going to load. So, again if you refresh it, it may show the error. So, now what you have to do is we are going to solve this problem later. Now, again in hero.jsx, cut this component, save it, and again paste it, and if you save this, now you can see the model. Now, only thing is this model is not placed in the right position, and also we are seeing the gap here. So, all this we are going to adjust it in our next session.